Hello, all of our friends with Benepets. I'm Jeremy Olson, founder, president, and CEO of Benepets. And today we have Dr. Burton with us, and we have Jeff Stephenson. Guys, thanks for being here. Cheryl, you're our chief scientist at Benepets here, and Jeff is basically in charge of our product development here at Benepets. You know, Jeff and I travel around a lot, and trade shows and meetings and different things, and so we still get people that ask us a lot of questions like, who is Benepets? What do you guys do? And so I wrote some questions down, and I just really quickly wanted to preface this before we get into some of the technical and some of the scientific questions. But really, what is Benepets? We're a pet food manufacturing company. What makes Benepets different from other foods on the market?
The real key things that we point out to most people are the quality of the ingredients, number one. The ingredients we use in our product are very carefully sourced to make sure that the quality of them and the nutrient that is contained within them is top notch. We want to make sure that it's the best thing we can put into the food as possible. Second thing is our probiotic bacteria blend that we have in our foods. It does many things that we'll get into a little further in the conversation today, but the real key there is really just to boost the benefits of all the ingredients that we put in the food, either to consume them themselves so that they become a better nutrition component to what we're feeding it to, or to help alleviate other nutrient problems that we may have in our system. So a lot of benefits to it. And the third one is just the fact that it's a whole biome food. It's intended to feed the entire system. So not just your fish, not just your corals, every microorganism in the tank, down to bacteria themselves. So really focused on making sure that we feed the entire biome.
What in Benepets makes it so good?
For me personally, it's the technology we have behind the bacteria and how it works in our food specifically. There are other products that use probiotic bacteria that are on the market. I think we've taken ours just a little bit further than that to make it not just a part of it, but integral to the product itself.
So you guys know we now have 3 products, and we want to just do a quick overview of the 3 product lines that we carry. So the original OG formula was the original Reef formula, which all of you that are using it now know it as Reef. And so that's the whole biome food. It's the powder food that you mix, you pre-mix with your tank water, let it sit for 3 to 5 minutes, and then that starts the hydration of the food, and it activates the dormant bacteria that's in the food, and then you go ahead and can broadcast feed. So a lot of people that have a mixed reef tank, or especially SPS corals, they love using the Reef powder. A lot of the farms that do, and we'll get into some of those that use it, but that's one of the ways they do is with the broadcast feeding. There's a few different ways you can feed. You can make it a thicker paste if you want and do spot feeding, so less tank water, and then you mix the same amount of Reef in that powder, and then you can actually target feed some of your corals that way. The next product, the evolution in the product line, a lot of people came to us and said, we want an auto feeder pellet. You know, if I go on vacation or something that's more convenient, just the application of it. And so we developed Benepet Reef, and so that's the formulation of Reef in the pellet form. And so we have 3 sizes. We have a 1.7 millimeter, we have a 2.5, and we also have a 3 millimeter pellet that you can conveniently use and put in your auto feeders. Fish will eat it. It's again, it's an entire reef food for everything, so everything will consume it, eat it. The pellets will drop, and so it'll basically break down just like the Reef powder does. One of the things that I love about this, the pellets, is that it took us forever, right, to develop and get the bacteria infused inside the pellet. So a lot of other products will actually have the bacteria if they do coated on the outside. Ours is actually infused on the inside. And then the last of the product line is the new Benepet LPS. So this is using the same concept and the IP from the original formula of Reef, but taking it a step further for LPS corals. So we've increased the proteins, we've increased the amino acids, the colorants, those things that help, where you can direct feed and spot feed your LPS corals. And those of you that have used it, you can attest to how well it works. And in fish too, we've noticed that as well. What does whole biome nutrition mean to Benepets?
It's really just feeding everything in the system. Little tiny microorganisms in your rock, beneficial bacteria that are actually in your rock. Amphipods, copepods, all those zooplankton that we like to have in our tanks because it helps reduce algae issues. the entire biome. We really want to focus the food on every single element that can consume a food product in our tanks. We want to be able to feed it something from our products. And one thing we didn't touch on really with the pelleted products, they're designed to completely dissolve. So with a lot of other pelleted products, they'll fall to the bottom of the tank and they'll sit as a pellet on the bottom of the tank. Ours are designed to completely dissolve. So with very little water flow, within 15-20 minutes after feeding, if there's some left on the bottom of the tank, they disperse into the water column just as if you were feeding the powder. So you get all the benefits of the powder even if you're not feeding the pellet or the powdered food.
But what are the terms probiotic? What does that mean?
Well, there are actually three terms that are commonly used: probiotic, prebiotic, and postbiotic. The prebiotics are the compounds that supply the growth for the probiotic bacteria. The probiotic bacteria are the ones that are producing the nutrients, the vitamins, the cofactors that the host wants and needs. And the postbiotics are those compounds. They're actually short-chain fatty acids that are produced. There are compounds that are inhibitory to pathogenic bacteria. Those are referred to as bactericidins. Some of the metabolic byproducts that are produced by bacteria are only produced by bacteria and are required by all animals. In particular, things like vitamin B12 is produced only by bacteria.
Yeah.
And so all animals are dependent upon the B12 the bacteria provide for them.
Do probiotics have to be symbiotic to the coral to be beneficial?
Well, actually, they found that it doesn't, and there's been several studies that have demonstrated that. One of the very interesting study was done with penguins, in that penguins, particularly in captivities, are quite subject to bacterial infections. And so they fed these penguins killed probiotic bacteria.
Interesting.
The killed bacteria still had produced the compounds that reduced the allergies and the inflammation that the penguins were having and causing them trouble. And it also produced compounds that inhibited the pathogenic bacteria. And these were with killed bacteria. The other thing that they saw by adding the killed bacteria is that the presence of the probiotic bacteria that are normally present in the gut increase in number, particularly the lactobacillus and things of that sort. And so by providing the dead culture, you provided not only a lot of benefits to the penguin, but benefits to the bacteria that are beneficial to the penguin itself. It may seem a little strange to be feeding marine animals bacteria that aren't a marine source, but in fact, there's not a lot of difference between the lactobacillus that are in the gut of coral and the lactobacillus that are in any other animal. I mean, they're very closely related. And I think most people don't realize that lactobacillus are in coral.
Right.
It isn't something that is foreign to them. It isn't a new, unique food source for them. It's a food source they're used to. And by feeding them lactobacillus that we have, we provide them the same nutrients that the lactobacillus in the coral provide, plus we help those resident bacteria survive and do better.
Do probiotics need to form a marine source to be useful?
Apparently not. The lactobacillus and the lactic acid bacteria, which includes a wider range of bacteria, are common throughout the entire animal kingdom. Every animal group that has been studied have been found to have these bacteria in the gut. They may not be a very high concentration, but they're there. And by feeding even bacteria from plant sources from the earth to marine animals increases their bacteria that they normally have, and also inhibits the pathogenic bacteria that are harmful. Until very recently, we had no idea what bacteria were in the gut of coral. With genetic engineering, you're able to take portions of the coral, extract the bacterial DNA from those areas, and with the library that has been established on bacterial identification, identify virtually thousands of bacteria that we didn't even know existed, and which we cannot cultivate. The reason we can't cultivate them is the relationship between those bacteria and the coral is very, very tight. The coral can't grow without the bacteria, and the bacteria can't grow without the coral. So they communicate with each other, and they feed each other special environment and compounds that we have no idea what is. We've not been able to grow those bacteria in culture. But we can provide the bacteria in culture that help those bacteria. And so by providing bacteria, lactobacillus bacteria, or any of the lactic acid bacteria, it provides the nutrients that those bacteria have produced, but also provides an environment which enhances the growth of the symbiotic bacteria in the coral. One of the fascinating things that is happening now in coral research is to actually provide probiotics to stressed coral, and the results are phenomenal. And you're not necessarily providing all the probiotic bacteria that the coral have. You're providing a few, which are providing an environment for all the rest of the good bacteria in the coral to blossom. The best thing that we can do is determine what strains of bacteria we use, is which ones do the most benefit for the animal you're feeding.
Right.
And we're always looking for new strains of bacteria, new cultures of bacteria, and test those to see if they're beneficial and what good they can do, or if they don't help.
Right.
And so the selections of the strain of the bacteria are not necessarily based on whether or not they're a marine source or whether they're symbiotic, but whether they have a demonstrable, certified benefit to the coral or to the fish you're feeding them to.
Yeah.
And so that's where we'll develop new cultures, or where we may eliminate some of the cultures that we're using.
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. We appreciate you taking this time with us, and make sure that you like and subscribe to our channel, and we appreciate it. Thank you guys all so much.